Hello everyone, welcome to Ansarkari. And in this episode, we are again going to focus upon very crucial and unique concepts which are very relevant in writing the mains examination for economic optional paper 2. We are following a certain pedagogy, we are trying to follow a certain pattern. That is why it is a kind of a self-learning, collaborative, and one can say DIY process. That is what helps one to raise the bar. And it always brings new surprises and new learnings, which helps ultimately in writing a good answer when the time comes. So I'll be reading out, and Mansi is there, she's going to help me in decoding it and then comparing the same. If the labor market has perfect competition and the commodity market has monopoly, then explain equilibrium in the labor market. How does it change if the monopolist in the product market has monospony in the labor market? So a completely theory, and one can say a very clear cut question where the understanding of the theorem and also principles is at check. Let's start.
Ji, sir. So in perfect competition, labor market will solely function according to the market forces of demand and supply, which will decide the equilibrium real wage and employment level. But when we're talking about monopoly, which is present in commodity market, that is only supplier of the commodities. That is the definition of monopoly. It will decide the price in the market and aggregate supply. So it is talking about equilibrium. How will it change? So first I've explained how would be the equilibrium in perfect competition in the labor market. So this is the downsloping value of the marginal product of labor. This is the marginal revenue product of the labor, upward sloping supply curve. So here we have at E is the equilibrium in the perfect competition. So this is the condition for it. And the firm is the price taker in the equilibrium in the perfect competition. Now it is talking that I've mentioned that at K, which is the equilibrium point here, the real wage would be WPC, which is perfect competition at F. Now, when there is monopoly, so firm will exploit the market information, the labor supply by offering a lower wages and maximizing the profit. And firm is the wage decider here instead of price taker as under the perfect competition. So this is one difference. And equilibrium wage in case of monopoly will be lower than that under the perfect competition. So now wage would be at WE. So it is lower than,
Mm.
and this gap is the loss of wages to the labor. So that's how the real wages decline. Now, under monopsony, how would be the
Mm.
equilibrium? So, monopsony is the only buyer in the market. Monopoly is the only seller. Monopsony is the only buyer of the services in the market. Firms has absolute advantage here because they are the only buyer, so they have the ultimate bargaining power, we can say. So, in this case, market demand curve, which is the DL, this upward demand curve, but monopsony's demand curve would be this lower MD curve, demand curve, and wages are decided at point T instead at this intersection. So T would be the equilibrium point, which is again lower than that under the perfect competition at WPC. So we can say that there is again dead weight loss also under the situation of monopsony. So this reflects the loss of welfare uh, to the wagers or the wage earners here, and this shaded region is the loss of wages.
Okay. Mm. Coming to the next question, explain Arrow's impossibility theorem. A very direct but a very important question.
Ji, sir. So basic definition that Kenneth Arrow's impossibility theorem, it states that it is impossible to fulfill all value judgments to achieve best possible social preference when more than two social choices are present. So it states five axioms to maximize the social welfare, which all of them should be satisfied. So transitivity, these are the definitions. Universality, that all set of individuals preference ranking that should be allowed.
Non-dictatorship. Mm.
then independence of the alternatives from third individuals, and Pareto optimality should also be satisfied. So importance is that it is showing us the limits of democratic and the collective decision making, because all these above value judgments cannot be satisfied when there are three more than two preferences, as we explained through this table also. And then a role of trade-offs also, and the opportunity cost which exists because of the social preferences. So if these three are ABC are the preferences by these three individuals, so this is the order of the preference which they allocate. Now we can see that under this, the transitivity value judgment will be violated because there are three choices. So we can't derive a final conclusion out of this. So there's no consistent winner without the violation of a single value judgment is possible here. So this is the whole
Okay.
idea of the arrows
Means
impossible.
we have tried to explain it in a way, the all the aspects of it.
जी.
What are the main features of Caldor's theory of welfare, which distinguishes it from Pareto?
जी. So Calder-Hicks theory of welfare economics, it focuses on harm to one individual and gain to other. Whereas when we talk about Pareto, so it established that welfare is decided when an economic reorganization in the economy makes someone better off without harming the other. So it is completely eliminating the harming aspect. No, not even a single individual should not be harmed. And features of Calder's theory, so compensation principle is the fundamental aspect which is based on different assumptions. That is satisfaction of individual is independent. Then no externalities of consumption and production exist, and taste and preferences, they are also constant. So when the economic reorganization, it harms the few people, but at the same time it is benefiting some, then the gainers, they will compensate the losses, and still after compensation also they remain better off, which increase the net welfare gain. So for
Hmm.
Calder, construction of a dam, like which displaces the people who are
The
the
people,
users,
yes.
but it will generate electricity and conserves water. It leads to maximization of the welfare, because the losers, they would be compensated in terms of the rehabilitation plan. So that is why there is a net welfare gain here. But when we compare this same example in terms of Pareto optimality, so even if one person is also harmed, it will not lead to welfare, because the people who are displaced, they are being harmed, or their
Okay.
welfare reduces. So construction of a dam is not a welfare measure for Pareto optimality. So Calder, he resolves the contract curve indeterminacy also, as we see under the Pareto optimality. So it provides a solution to this challenge, and I've drawn this Edgeworth box to depict how the indeterminacy range between L and M on the contract curve is there, which is present under the Pareto optimality. So here it means that on any point between LM, there would be Pareto optimum. All points are Pareto optimum. The welfare would be maximum on all the points along this part of the contract curve. Whereas again, this is not possible practically. So this was resolved by Calder's theory. So you can say that
Okay.
Calder's compensation principle is practical. It is used in
Practical.
developmental economics,
Development norms.
and
Yes.
Pareto
And
criteria is
Pareto
more
criteria is more absolute with limited application.
limited applications.
Now let's try to see the other way around.
G. So labor market and the perfect competition, monopoly and monopsony.
Mhm.
So monopoly is price maker, completely aware about the price of the commodity, which it charges above the marginal cost. So he's able to dictate the price to maximize his own profit. So since
Mhm.
monopoly is aware about the average and the margin supply of labor, means he's aware about the market information. So that is exploited to offer lower wages and demands higher
Demand high लेबर
labor.
ठीक है
So but
हम्म
ये यहाँ पे डायग्राम आई थिंक ऑपोजिट ड्रॉ कर दिया.
गलत बना दिया सही बात है
तो इक्विलिब्रियम लेबर मार्केट में होगा, ही विल डिमांड लेबर एट अ पॉइंट सच दैट द, मतलब इन्होंने परफेक्ट कंपटीशन वाला एक्सप्लेन नहीं किया, डायरेक्ट मोनोपोली वाला ही एक्सप्लेन किया.
ओके
सो उसको एक्सप्लेन करके देन मोनोप्सनी में मार्केट में इक्विलिब्रियम.
डायरेक्ट आ गए हाँ क्वेश्चन के हिसाब से ठीक है
हाँ जी. बट यहाँ पे भी आई थिंक गलत डिपिक्ट किया है, वेजेस इस पॉइंट पे होंगी, लोअर होंगी देन
ठीक है
दिस. So supplier of labor will
हम्म,
have monopoly power such that he is aware about the marginal demand, and वही चीज है कि aware होगा
बिल्कुल।
monopoly जैसे monopoly में,
हम्म,
so he will also
हम्म,
charge lower prices, जो wages होंगी वो lower ही देंगे उनको laborers को. So if there is both monopoly as well as monopsony, then wages they are determined between WS and WM as per the
negotiation
negotiation
and
that
mutual bargaining powers.
bargaining power. So discern to properly understand this topic. Then next, Arrow's impossibility theorem. So according to Arrow, it is impossible to design a social welfare function that can reflect the social ordering of consumers in a democratic fashion. So
Okay.
for any social welfare function to be efficient, satisfy these following 5 criterias. वही
हम्म,
इन्होंने उसको define किया.
हम्म,
So social welfare function that is not violating at least one of the above stated 5 conditions.
we
So
also drawn this, yes.
बेसिक सर हाँ यही होता है इसमें तो अकॉर्डिंग टू मेजोरिटी डिसीजन वही ट्रांजिटिविटी कंडीशन वायलेट होगी. सो अमर्त्य सेन criticized Arrow's impossibility theorem on grounds that if more information is available debate discussion के बाद before taking the decision it is possible to design a function which can satisfy Arrow's conditions and his impossibility goes away. So उन्होंने एक आगे की बात और बोल दी अमर्त्य सेन
तो
प्रेजेंट.
पहले आंसर में हम क्या कहेंगे?
सर पहले वाला तो इट इज ऑन ट्रैक. उसमें मैंने एक एक्स्ट्रा चीज और
हम्म,
बता दी कि स्टार्टिंग में क्योंकि लेबर
तो
मार्केट में परफेक्ट
हमारे
कंपटीशन.
पास अगर टाइम होता है, यानी आपके पास अगर टाइम है एग्जामिनेशन में, तो हम वो एक्स्ट्रा चीज बता सकते हैं,
जी.
और नहीं तो फिर सेकंड पार्ट तो हो ही जाएगा. दैट्स
हम्म,
व्हाट यू कैन से,
हाँ
राइट?
हाँ जी सर. यहाँ
इन द
पे
सेकंड क्वेश्चन.
एक यही जो कंक्लूजन में उन्होंने एक नेक्स्ट स्टेज वाली बात कर दी अमर्त्य सेन का क्रिटिक
हम्म,
ऑफ द एक्ट ऑफ इम्पॉसिबिलिटी थ्योरम. तो ये मैंने यहाँ पे इसको इतना
नहीं
कॉम्प्रिहेंस
किया,
नहीं आ पाया हूँ.
कोई बात नहीं. और
देन
थर्ड क्वेश्चन में
मेन फीचर्स ऑफ कार्लो थ्योरी ये पूरा इन्होंने ये नहीं अटेम्प्ट ही नहीं किया है, ये इतना ही लिखा है.
no
कार्लो
worries. So what
कुछ
is our direction of the takeaway? That is what is very important for us. ठीक है,
सर
ये
ये
सेकेंडरी है, वो प्राइमरी हो गया.
जो कंसेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी है दैट इज ऑन ट्रैक. और थोड़ा सा वो सिंपल कर रही है तो मैं भी उसी डायरेक्शन में कोशिश कर रही हूँ कि सिंपल लैंग्वेज लेके आ सकूँ. प्लस आई एम ट्राइंग कि रियल लाइफ को एग्जाम्पल कनेक्ट करके जैसे डैम वाली केस स्टडी मैंने इंसर्ट कर दी थी दोनों का कंपेयर करके. और एंड में कंक्लूजन का भी यही कि फ्यूचरिस्टिक कंक्लूजन लिखे.
फ्यूचरिस्टिक होना चाहिए.
फ्यूचरिस्टिक हाँ
ठीक है.
माइंड में है तो.
So at least 5% more, it gives confidence, clarity, and also the belief that once we follow the practice rigorously and
जी.
relentlessly, then definitely there is a good chance that there will be a turnaround. That's what we can say.
जी सर.
Thank you very much, all aspirants and everyone else, in understanding, joining, and going through the whole process at Ansarkari, because we believe that is one of the ways to get success. So you work smart and get success. Thank you very much.